Do I deserve more or less?
Are you a man or a woman?
I'm asking you. Do I deserve more or less?
Well, probably less.
Even now, when my voice is lower than yours.
Even less now. Do you know how to make a sandwich?
Yeah, I do. Want me to teach you?
No, thank you. That's a woman's job.
I really think your ideology is interesting. How do I apply it to my lesbian relationships?
Oh, man, they're trying to shut us down, man. Shut it down. Not fucking leaving! Anyone that wants to walk on up and have a question or want to push back, or maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. But yeah, I'm here to have some open conversation about feminism or any other topic for that matter that deals with, cultural stuff. Oh, we have a... What's up, man? How are you? I guess I could come into that after.
It's my work.
What's up,
right,
bro?
work. I seen some of your podcasts and stuff like that. I haven't watched the full thing, but I really just want to know, like, why do you think women deserve less? Because it's like a controversial. Obviously, it's going to catch people's attention.
Sure.
You know, they see it. And
Sure. When I say women deserve less, it's for a multitude of different reasons, but I'll just focus on, like, let's say dating for now, right? So guys have this, warped ideology that being a gentleman and being super nice and, being caring makes you more attractive to women. But the reality is, attraction and arousal are two different things. And by being a nice guy, what ends up happening a lot of times is you get stuck in the friend zone. And what I tell guys, and I talk about this in my book, guys got to give women less. If you look at the cover, I have money there, relationships, social media, and time. And the reason for that is because we live in a deregulated sexual marketplace. And what that basically means is, assuming two parties have the age of consent, anyone could hook up. Now, we thought this would be a good idea in the 60s with the explosion of feminism and birth control, etc. But what ended up happening was, when you leave women to their own devices, they date the best guys that they can get. And that problem's been exacerbated as they become more educated and made more money. So it's left a lot of normal guys out of the realm. So what I tell guys is, you need a woman that's going to reciprocate that attention, because we're in a position now where they have all the leverage, and a lot of guys are over here courting and dealing with women that, quite frankly, don't deserve it. So when I say women deserve less, there's other aspects too, but that's what I mean, as in, like, dating. Don't simp on women that already get everything given to them. I hope that answers your question.
yeah, isn't that just like a generalization though? Because I feel like it's case specific with every person. Like when you say that, it's like you matching one archetype of men with another archetype of women, and then you making that the case for everybody.
Well, I think the world operates on generalities, right? There's a reason why Braille isn't everywhere, because there's not that many blind people, right? So, in general, being a nice guy is going to set you back. Now, are there some girls out there that are, will reward you and give you sex and a blowjob for being a nice guy? Sure. But the reality is, being a nice guy typically always puts you on your back foot. And I think in today's day and age, where women have an enormous amount of leverage in the dating marketplace, guys need to kind of go in there with their eyes wide open so they don't put themselves in a bad situation. So generalizations are typically how the world works. Of course, there's always going to be anomalies. There's always going to be exceptions to the rule. But I think in general, men need to operate from a position where they're mitigating risk and not investing too much up front. Because we have way more on the line than women do when we get in relationships.
So you say, like, sex, do you think that's the end goal of a relationship? Like, where do you view that?
Well, it's the main agency that women have.
What if you don't give them that agency though? If you have like different priorities generally, like
The man or
Yeah,
the woman?
The man.
Okay, what do you mean by that? If you can kind of...
Like, if you don't go into a relationship just expecting to get that out of it, then there's really no leverage there if that's not something you really want out of that person.
Well, a lot of the time that's cope, right? So, like, guys will sit there and they'll be taking a girl on her seventh date. They've been talking for like 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months, and they'll sit there and cope, be like, "Oh no, like I'm just building something up." But the reality is she's fucking some other guy, right? The reality is that men need to understand that women, right? They sell purity, they sell sugar and spice and everything nice. But what will happen is they'll open themselves up sexually to the men that they respect and are aroused by, and then make the nice guy wait, right? And they're able to kind of double dip doing that. So I think with guys, they got to basically push for sex fairly quickly in a relationship to ensure that they're not getting used.
I think with
Because that is their main, just let's be honest here, like that is their main commodity, their main agency. Like,
I wouldn't
if
say
women didn't
that.
have vaginas, we wouldn't care. No one would talk to them.
I wouldn't say that because that's like half the population. You just like dehumanizing half the population with that statement.
I mean, well, it's the reality. We're put on Earth to procreate, correct? So men, our job is to provide resources. Their job is to extract resources, and it's been this way since the beginning of time. The only reason we're able to have this whole, moral situation is because of modernity and the access to technology and how we progressed. But the reality is, in times of when times are not peaceful, we get closer and closer to our traditional gender roles, right? There is no feminism when the lights are off. There is no feminism with war. There is no feminism when it comes to preserving society and moving on forward. So, the reality is that that's why the genders deal with each other. Men provide resources, women provide access to sex.
I'm gonna come back.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, thank you for coming up, though, man. It's brave to do that. So, shout out to you. And you when you come back up, say your name. Hi.
Hey, so I really think your ideology is interesting. How do I apply it to my lesbian relationships?
Okay. What is the goal? Is the goal to get married? Is the goal to have a serious long-term boyfriend that will, what's the goal?
It's to have a lesbian relationship.
Oh, well, you guys are useless to society, so.
So should I value her less or more?
Well, I mean, you guys can scissor and talk and have a good time, but you guys don't really provide for society.
Okay, so thank you.
No problem. Yeah, I mean, if you're not contributing to a nuclear family, you're effectively useless to society, being honest. Also, I don't think lesbianism is real. I think it's just confusion a lot of the times. Because the reality is, because I've interviewed maybe almost 4,000 girls on my show, and girls that say that they're lesbian or bisexual, I always like to ask them, well, if you had to pick one gender for the rest of your life, who are you going to pick? And 9 out of 10 times it's the men, and the reason why is because men have to provide value in a relationship. Women don't, a lot of the times. Like with us, we have a multifaceted list of things that we have to bring to the table, whether it's being tall, strong, competent, financial resources. Men have to rise to the occasion to be able to get attention from the opposite gender. Women don't. So what ends up happening a lot of the times when there's lesbian or bisexual couples and are dating with women, the bar is low, and they don't really provide value to each other. And then when the check comes, they're both looking at each other confused. So, there's a reason why lesbians have some of the highest rates of domestic violence. It just doesn't work.
Hey, I'm back. I got another question.
Sure.
So,
You want to introduce yourself to the people or not?
oh, my name is Caleb. I'm a civil engineer major.
What's up,
freshman.
Caleb? Welcome.
Yeah.
Where are you from, bro? How old are you?
I'm from Fort Mill, South Carolina. I'm 19.
Okay.
Yeah. So you said going into a relationship or dating with a woman, not expecting sex is like cope. What is?
Yeah,
what
a
is that?
lot of guys tell themselves that when they're in the friend zone. Like a guy will sit there for 3 or 4 years, talking to this girl, wanting more. He knows he's stuck in the friend zone, but he just kind of sits there and be like, "No, I'm just gonna be a good friend. I'm gonna sit around. I'm just gonna be here."
At that point, it's a matter of self-respect, though. Like if you know you're not getting what you want out of a relationship, why not walk away? But if you do want a friendship for that person,
I agree.
Because women do have value outside of just sex.
No,
then,
I agree with you on that. But the problem is that most guys can't identify when they're being friend zoned. Is my point.
It's easy to identify though. If the relationship not going where you want it to go, then you can walk away.
You got to understand that a lot of guys are socially retarded and not able to understand when a woman isn't that into them. I'm sure every woman in here has been hit on by a guy that made her feel uncomfortable, and he just simply didn't get it. And there's a reason for that. Women, the one compliment I will give women is they're socially superior to men. They're able to pick up on things quicker. They're able to read the room better. They're able to assess danger. And the reason for that is because they're the weaker gender physically, right? So since they can't make up for it with strength and brutality, if a dude's a little off, he's ticking like this, or he's a weirdo, women pick up on that immediately and okay, danger zone, let me get out of here. So that's why a lot of guys are kind of idiotic when it comes to stuff and they can't take the signs.
So correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
But is it that women deserve less or men need to know more?
Combination of the two. Men need to understand their value, because that's the biggest weapon when it comes to dating and intersexual dynamics is a lot of guys don't understand how much value they're bringing to the table versus the woman. A lot of the times, men chronically undervalue themselves while women simultaneously overvalue themselves. You know, if you ask an average girl, hey, what kind of guy do you want? They're going to tell you 6 figures, 6 feet, 6-pack, good looking, good with dogs, asshole that could put me in my place, but at the same time is a nice guy. Like, they're looking for the top 1% guy, but the reality is they're very average. So I think men need to understand that not only do you have to, the burden of performance is on you and you have to be attractive, but you also need to understand that you need to be superior to your girl in every way. Because women don't look for equals despite the fact that they say they do. That's a lie.
You got anything to say?
They look for a superior. They don't look for an equal, ever. So by me giving her less, I'm actually giving her what she wants. Surprisingly.
I wouldn't say that's like giving less though. And when you say women deserve less, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, they do. And the thing is that you have to make them earn everything. Because when guys come in, they start simping immediately. They start giving her money, time, attention, all this stuff. She takes that for granted. She doesn't respect it. And if she doesn't respect it, she's not going to respect you.
Okay, let's
and here's
put
the
it-
other thing, too. Since women have so many options, and this has been exacerbated by social media, by the way. Like, this has always been a problem, but in 2025, with the explosion of social media, it's gotten even worse.
I think social media just made it more toxic, but that I'll put that off to the side for a second.
Sure.
Let's do a hypothetical. So let's say a guy, he goes into a date, he already knows what he wants, and so in the scenario that you create, this guy he courts or whatever, they're dating, he's giving her everything that she wants, and she's giving it up to some other guy on the side or whatever.
Yep.
And so
Happens all the time.
the problem is that she values herself more than this guy.
Well, I mean, not really. She's basically using him, right? So another dark secret when it comes to modern dating and women in general, how modern women date, is what they'll do is they'll have men in certain categories. They'll compartmentalize men. So one guy will be saved on her phone as Uber, another guy will be saved as pizza, another guy will be saved as sex, another guy will be saved as simp, another guy will be saved as sugar daddy. And, you know, this is a very dark reality that a lot of guys don't understand. But we've gotten to a point now, thanks to social media and dating apps, et cetera, where women are able to basically have men in these certain roles where they can benefit them. And what I'm saying is I don't want you being saved as Uber. That's my thing when I talk to guys.
And so at that point, why is the lesson not how to have self-respect as a man instead of like attacking women?
Well, here's the thing. In order for you to have self-respect, you must give them less.
That's not how self-respect works, though.
No. You
You can value yourself, but without tearing someone else down.
Well, you're not tearing her down. You're just mitigating risk and not giving her everything up front. You're making her earn it. See, I find it interesting that women will sit there and have these super high standards, right? And when you make them work for your validation and your attention, that's looked at as misogynistic. But when women do it, it's looked at as having high standards. Do you notice that? Double standard? So in other words,
I've never experienced that personally.
well, that's you, man. I mean, you know, you might be better with the girls than other guys, but most men struggle in this
No,
situation.
man.
Yeah. See? Yeah, you got to remember, man, the average guy is struggling. Like, you know, you might be a smooth talker or whatever. I can see that you're an eloquent young man.
Thank you.
But a lot of guys don't have that skill set, you know? So,
Well, I mean, I think a lot of this, like, the dating philosophy in this time is really like spitting game, and it's really technical, but I think a lot of it is just connection. So when you actually look for that in somebody, then you can get rid of everything else.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't
but
become
here's
a
the thing,
competition
man.
or a thing of leverage or anything.
here's the thing you got to remember. Like, when it comes to, like, connection, remember that, like, 90% of guys can't even get the connection in the first place.
It's just a conversation, though.
But you're not going to have the conversation if she doesn't find you attractive up front. So, like, whenever women talk about, like, men that they like or whatever, or, like, what they're looking for, or the personality traits he's supposed to have, they're talking from the frame of they assume attraction. They assume he's already 6 feet tall and he's good looking or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, I don't care. I just want a guy that communicates well. But she's not telling you that he's 6'3" and makes, you know, $50K a month.
Yeah.
She's not telling you that part, right? She's saying she wants a good communicator, but the reality is it's with certain types of men.
I think with those women, with that like archetype of women in particular, they're like really shallow. Like me personally, if I see a woman
Bro,
like that,
that's a lot of women.
it's not though, because I know
Telling you.
a lot of women who go off of the way a man carries himself or the way he speaks or the things he believes. It's not just how he looks, and part of it is how he looks.
I'm not
like,
saying it's
that's-
just how he looks. It's a complete package. But what I'm saying is that they want them well-rounded in multiple different things. Typically, the more money and status a woman has, or the hotter she is, the pickier she's going to be. And this is even for average women. Average women are looking for an above-average guy 9 out of 10 times. We got 5s looking for 9s. You know, but then if you ask her, what do you rate yourself 1 to 10, she'll say an 11. 11? Like, what the hell? So that's the problem.
So, have you like met real life examples of these guys who are trying to talk to women and they're not having any success?
A lot. Coached a lot. Literally thousands of them.
So, and what are they doing wrong?
Well, there's a multitude of reasons, right? It could be that they're socially awkward, they don't have their money on point, they're fat, they don't speak well, they stink. Like, there's many failure points for men to take an L with women. And the thing also that I think that's important is women are pickier now than ever before. So, like, you might have everything in place, but she won't like the color of your socks. Oh, I'm good, you know? So girls get turned off very easily now because they have the paradox of choice.
Yeah. See, I personally can't speak from these generalizations because I'm speaking from my personal experience.
Of course. And it's anecdotal, so you're going to be limited in what you can, you know, understand or know because you're only 19 years old. And trust me, I had that same mindset when I was 19 too. I had this whole, you know, idealism and you know, women are equal to us and everything else like that. But the reality is they're not. If I'm going to be honest, they suck at most things. Men are better than women in almost every regard.
Crazy. I've heard you say that before.
Yeah.
But I don't really think that's true. And personally, I don't think my viewpoint is idealistic.
We're literally better than them in everything where we compete. That's why they have to have their own separate leagues.
I think.
Yeah, but nobody shows up at the WNBA games. The WNBA is literally subsidized by the NBA, right? It's like we like champion mediocrity from females just because we want to be equal, right?
I think we got double standards in gender roles because men and women are good at different things. Not that men are better than this or women suck at this. Like, we have different things that we're inclined to.
I mean, yeah, she'll teach you guys how to get cats. That's what she'll teach you guys, how to get cats and get triggered. But the biological reality is men are better than women at most things. Yeah, I mean, hey, you can get on the mic. You get on the mic. She wants to tell you guys about her Siamese cats. We got a Karen in the house. Fantastic. But yeah, anyway, like I was saying, yeah, men are better than women in almost every realm of competitive endeavor. It's just the reality, right? And this shows in what they're attracted to as well. Does a woman want a guy that's shorter than her, dumber than her, makes less money than her? No, she's looking for a superior. That's just how it is. It's biology. Now, I know this is like offensive, right, to the left to point out these biological realities, but women are not attracted to men that they're equal to. They'll sit there and say that, but how they behave is two different things. So, what's up, man? How are you? What's your name?
Hi, how are you? My name is Trey. It's nice to meet you.
How are you, Trey?
So I heard your views on lesbians a moment ago, and I'm just curious how those views transfer to gay men. Do you believe they don't exist as well? Because you did say that lesbian relationships cannot exist because men are more multifaceted than women. That was your main argument point on lesbianism prior, and I'm just curious how that carries to.
So, what are my thoughts on gay men?
Yeah.
Well, you guys are kind of useless to society too.
Fair, yeah. I am pretty damn useless.
but
not because I'm not having kids, just because I'm crazy.
Yeah, from the nuclear family perspective, right? I say that kind of as a joke, but yeah, I mean, I think the backbone of any thriving society is the nuclear family, and if people aren't contributing to that, I think it's problematic for society. So gay men and lesbian women don't contribute to that, unfortunately, and I don't think gay men should be able to adopt children either. I think that's crazy. I don't think lesbian women should be able to adopt children either. I think kids need to be protected at all costs, and exposing them to sexual degeneracy is a problem, because that's what homosexuality and lesbianism is. I'm a firm believer that gays and lesbians need to go back in the closet. We don't need that stuff outwardly.
That is a point of view that you are entitled to. Have a nice day.
Fair enough. Thank you for coming up. Yeah, guys, I know it's scary, but like I said, I'll chat with you guys. You got questions on my worldviews or disagree, I'd be happy to have a conversation with anyone. Okay. Hey, what's up, man? What's your name?
Hey, name's Josh. Sorry. Joshua Williams.
What's up, Josh? How are you?
Decent. How about you?
Good. I like your shirt.
Appreciate it. Wanted to ask you about your main selling point, women deserve less.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit on the first couple chapters of the Bible, Genesis 1 through 5.
Yeah, if you could go through it quick, though, because we don't want to do a Bible study here, man. We got to keep it moving. But, yeah, go ahead.
I personally believe that that the Bible is the center point of all life because it is God's divine word, and that the shirt only Jesus, when you focus on Jesus and you have Jesus centered on everything, not necessarily Jesus first, but Jesus centered, everything is going to change. Your whole life is going to change. Your whole ideology is going to change everything. Mm-hmm. So I want to focus on Jesus' creation, his perfect creation, when he created male and female. When you see all of his other creation, he says that he saw that the day and night he saw good. He saw it well. But when he talks about creation, man and female, he says it is very good. He takes it to another level that humankind, that his creation of man and woman is much different than the rest of his creation, and that they are created in God's image. So being that they're both created in God's image, both man and female, how do you say that women deserve less when they're both created in God's image?
Well, when I say that, I mean as in the man needs to be the leader, right? And the Bible obviously talks about this too, right? It goes God, man, then woman. My problem is when I say women deserve less, I mean it's vague on purpose, right? Depending on the context that we're talking about here. But in this regard, when it comes to having a family, being married, etc., it means that the man needs to be the leader, right? Now, I think the problem is that a lot of guys go into relationships thinking that their woman is equal to them and they can split the check and all this other stuff. I'm a big proponent of the nuclear family. I don't think women should work. I think men should be bearing that burden. But the problem is that we have this egalitarian mindset where we're telling men to treat their women as equals, and that's just not how it goes. I'm a big proponent. If you have the if you have the responsibility of taking care of her, you should also have the authority over her to tell her what to do.
Okay.
Because let's be honest here, all the Abrahamic religions know that when you leave a woman to their own devices, they fuck up.
Mm-hmm. So now, talking about Abrahamic religions, we're going to focus on the Old Testament and how the Old Testament is based on the covenant with Moses, and how that the law, the first 5 books of the Bible say that the man is to be the leader, which is shown,
and that's all I'm getting at when I say that.
Which is shown in Romans. Romans says that, and I may be quoting wrong, so forgive me if I am quoting wrong, but the New Testament says that the husband, the man, is supposed to love his family and his wife the same way that Jesus loved the church.
Yes, but see, we're kind of at the finish line right now. Before we get to that point, you need to identify the women that are even worthy of being a wife. And because I like what you're saying here, right? Like, again, I believe in a nuclear family, and I think that as a man, it's your job to protect, provide, and provision. But the problem is that most women simply don't deserve that nowadays, right? A lot of girls are promiscuous, bad habits, don't respect male authority, but they want you to wife them up. And I'm telling guys, don't do that. You got to vet women out in the beginning very hard, because thanks to modernity and feminism, what's happened basically is like all the training wheels that society had to keep things in place and to keep things in check are gone. We used to have Christianity. We used to have shame. We used to have the church. We used to have strong-knit communities. But now that's all out the wayside. So since we have removed these social training wheels, what's ended up happening is we have this deregulated sexual marketplace where a lot of women are just not worthy of being a wife. And I want guys to focus on, like, when you do identify the woman that's worthy of being your wife, then obviously you give her the world. I'm not saying not to give her everything, but she has to earn that. And that's the problem, is that we just think that girls should get things for having a vagina. And I'm here to say, like, no.
And I would say, to not necessarily add on, but just add on to my point, I say with women that may be deemed as not wife material, I personally feel that that's when you get down on your knees, you pray, and you say, Jesus, help these people. That
Yeah, you could pray for them.
It's just the same way that when Jesus died on the cross, he said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, look, you could pray for them, but my thing is, let's be honest here, man. Jesus can't even save a lot of these hoes. What makes you think you're going to do it? So that's the reality.
I just feel like I never want to lose hope on humanity, because once you lose hope in humanity, that's when things start going.
Pray for them, but what I'm saying is you
down.
don't have to invite that to your house to destroy your household. Pray for her, but like don't let her. Look, one of the worst things a man can do, and this is going to be taboo, but I'm going to say it. One of the worst things you could do is wife up a whore. So, because wifing up promiscuous women will absolutely destroy your life as a man. So my thing is you could pray for them. Obviously, you wish well upon them, but that doesn't mean you need to invite her into your life where she's in a position where she could utterly destroy you.
Okay.
Especially with the way the family courts are run and the way that child custody works and alimony and everything else like that. Like, guys have to be very cautious and careful with who they marry. And they need to reserve it for the women that are worthy. Because, unfortunately, it's not 1955, it's 2025, and women have changed a lot.
Oh, yeah.
A lot. For the worse.
Yeah. I think that just comes back to once you have your family, once you have the wife that God has set aside for you, that's when you lay down the law and you say, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
I agree. But you got to find the woman that's even worthy of taking that journey with. And what I'm saying is most don't qualify.
And then that's when I feel like you fall into that cycle that you pray. Like,
Yeah.
You don't necessarily agree with what they're doing. You may not. Your soul, your flesh, you might not. You might not feel like that they deserve prayer. But when you are focused on God and you focus on Jesus, Jesus will lead you to pray for these people. And
Okay.
it may not change, but when you hold out hope and you pray, you change as a person, and people around you see that.
Fair.
And they recognize that you're different.
Fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
No worries, man. Thank you. Any other takers on why women deserve less? Oh, man, here we go.
Okay.
Hello.
Do I deserve more or less?
Are you a man or a woman?
I'm asking you. Do I deserve more or less?
Well, probably less.
Even now, when my voice is lower than yours.
Even less now. I knew something was off. Saw that Adam's apple. I was like, oh, here we go. What was that? It's oil in my beard? Color correct. All right. Man, my feelings are hurt. I don't even know what that thing said.
Yeah, I'm not
That
saying
creature.
hello to you, so let's just skip the pleasantries.
Sure.
So why are
Yeah, I was going to say, can someone help her?
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming up. I appreciate it.
So are your views on women based on data or personal rejection?
Here we go, the whole you're an incel thing. Okay.
Because on a podcast about 2 months ago, didn't you just say you got your first girlfriend and you're like 30?
Wow, she really thinks that's a known. Number one, I've had a girlfriend now for a few years,
I'm
not
so
2
sorry.
months. And it's an open relationship. I do what I want, and she's closed on her end.
That's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, look at all the people here going crazy. So here's the reality, right? So let me give you guys a biological reality here.
What does this have to do with my question?
Women-
I'm asking if your views come from data or rejection, because someone had to hurt you for the way you feel about women.
Oh, so I have to be hurt to be able to establish and tell the truth.
Well, yes.
That's interesting.
Sorta, kinda. Was it your mom?
No, actually, you know what's funny? It was my mom that warned me about these hoes.
Mm.
Yeah. It was actually my mom.
So you and your mom are birds.
Me and my mom are birds?
Yeah, bird brains.
All right, interesting. Do you actually have an argument, or do you just want to make ad hominems?
No, I'm just asking questions. You have yet to answer my question.
Well, it
Is
sounded more like a
based on-
statement since we're both birds, right?
Well, are your views based on data or personal rejection?
Yeah, they're based on data, obviously experience, anecdotal, talking with almost 4,000 women now at this point. So, you know, and I think every guy here, right, though they might not admit it, would love to have a setup where they have a girlfriend that loves and admires them and respects them, obeys them, and he could go ahead and get other women and she's closed on her end. And this is what I was trying to say. Once you reach a certain level of status and you have your stuff together, you'd be amazed at what women will tolerate when you're that guy. So I want every guy to be at a point where if you want to be monogamous to your woman, you can, but if you also want to have other women, you can. And that's what I think keeps you attractive, because women only get in line when you have other women in line. Now, I know that... What was that?
He said you're not welcome on campus, prick.
Oh, look at this guy. Nice jorts. Nice jorts.
Hey, I have another question. Do you know who invented Wi-Fi? Like the technology for Wi-Fi?
Let me guess, a woman?
Well, yeah. So if it wasn't for a woman, your podcast, you wouldn't have one, and it wouldn't have gotten demonetized.
Oh, good one. Yeah, so here's the thing. We do direct connect on our pod, so...
I don't care.
Wi-Fi isn't... Oh, now it's I don't care. Okay, great.
Hello, sir.
Make sure to hit the gym as well.
Sir. Hey,
Hey, just being honest, man.
sir.
You're... Yeah, look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Sir,
hey,
if you're here to
the
have
girls
a
aren't gonna fuck you,
conversation,
man.
I'm trying to have one with you.
Like the girls aren't gonna fuck you, bro. White knighting is not gonna do it.
Okay, hi. Would you like to have an actual conversation?
This is fucking awesome. All right, what are you gonna say? Go ahead.
All right, here. I'm here to have an actual like debate with you, okay? I'm not
Sure.
here. I'm not here to antagonize you or villainize you. I want to understand you, and I hope maybe you'd want to understand me. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure.
So what I want to understand is your viewpoint that women deserve less, or that you think men deserve more?
Well, two things can be true, right?
Okay.
So I think guys need to be in a position where they are the dominant and the leader in the relationship.
So I would like to understand why exactly do you think that? Is it what is causing this? Is it like an instinctual thing? Do you think it's based off biology, psychology?
What in
religion,
particular?
belief? Like the idea that the man should be dominant. What is the backing thought process for this?
Well, it's how society has thrived for centuries. You know, the man is the head of the household. He's a leader. He protects and provisions. And this is how we've been able to build up the society we enjoy now. And it's only with modernity and feminism that women have been able to kind of do the things that they do. But at the end of the day, I would argue most women want a traditional man who's going to be a provider, going to be a protector, and adhere to these traditional masculine traits.
Okay, so let me ask you a question about this, sir, if you don't mind. So
Sure.
what would you say that over time, generally speaking, with how society has come, how culture has come, to where we are at this current point, are you content with how the world is today? With society, are you happy with how society has turned out? What exactly, do you have any issues with modern society?
Well, I mean, look, obviously there's pluses and negatives, but I
course.
do think that modernity has led to the overall degradation of society. And it's because we don't prioritize the family anymore.
So is the issue less that women deserve less, or that we should put more of a focus on traditionalism within the family?
Well, that's kind of the same thing from before. Again, men need to be in a different position now where they need to be able to vet out women properly for them to be their wives. Because the thing that sucks for guys now is that most women want to be married, but they're not necessarily wife material. Everyone wants to get married, but no one wants to be a wife is basically what I mean. So I think, well, you're a lesbian. I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, anyway, so yeah, that's what I think it is. Guys need to really focus on the family, but before they can even do that, they need to be able to go in with their eyes wide open with how society is and how we're playing the dating game, because we have more to lose.
Okay, so I understand where you're coming from.
Sure.
I think it makes sense that you would like to have, women would be able to be mothers, would ever be able to be wives. If a man is being a provider, clearly you would want something in return, right? I mean, like.
Yeah, to obey me.
Oh, I don't. If you want people to hear you out, I don't really think obey would be the best word to use. I mean, like, obey kind of implies that there's a lack of free will and thought. Would you think?
Interesting. So you say there's a lack of free will there, but is there, I mean,
with the term obey, like the connotation that it provides when you say the word obey.
yeah, because here's the thing. I find it interesting that on my end, I'm protecting and providing, and the one thing I ask in return is for her to obey, but that's a problem. See, that's
Well, I didn't say it was a
because here's the
problem.
thing. Here, let's be honest here, right? So this is what I mean when I say modern feminism poisons women. Women want a guy who's going to be a protector and a provider and a good man, but if he asks, hey, I need you to obey me in return, she'll say, I don't like that word. Why do I need to obey you? Well, you need to obey me because I'm the one that's responsible for you. So if I'm responsible for you, that means I'm supposed to have authority over you as well.
Well, if you would like to have a conversation without putting words in my mouth where I said that I had a problem with the term, like, obeying people, I just said that if you want other people to agree with you, maybe find a different term that would, kind of incline people to agree. Secondly...
Well, that's the problem. People are too soft. That's the truth. We need women to obey us.
Says the guy who's here complaining about women?
No, I said women need to obey men. I'm saying the problem is that we have this society where people just don't want to be honest and say what it is.
But I'm being honest and telling you that people don't like the word obey.
Okay. Oh, well.
Okay.
Like,
oh, well.
you know,
People
I
don't
find
like
it interesting,
it.
right? So a lot of people think I just talk smack to women all the time, but I actually talk more smack. Anyone that watches the show, I actually talk more smack to men. I tell them to not be fat, not to be losers, not to be dorks. Like, I bully the guys so that they become better. And men kind of accept this. But when we say we want something in return, women don't want to follow it. So it's like women have one job and they don't even want to do that.
Well, have you considered that maybe women don't want your help?
Well, here's the thing. I'm here to help the guys out because they're the leaders. So,
Well, that's fine, but...
I'm very familiar with the fact that, like, women, like, if they hear a certain word, they get triggered and they can't listen to anything else. But, again, that's an inherent flaw in women because they're so emotional. But the reality is, like, as a woman, if you're in a relationship with a guy and he's doing what he's supposed to do, protect and provide for you, you need to obey him.
So wait, okay, you have a problem with women being overly emotional, yet you want them to be providers to children. That implies that there needs to be some type of emotional nurture there. So is the problem that women are too emotional or that they're not emotional enough?
No, what I'm talking about is in this context where the term obey immediately triggered you.
I'm not triggered.
Okay.
Do I look angry?
No. Well, you didn't like that term. You're like, hey, well, you know, maybe you could use a different word. It's like, no, that's what it is, obey.
I didn't say that. I was bothered by the word. I was just trying to give you some advice that maybe other people would be more inclined to listen if you didn't come off so authoritative.
Well, I think that's important where we're at a crazy point right now where we just got to start being honest and not tone police and worry about certain phrases triggering people. You know, the truth hurts a lot of the times, but this is what we need to do. We've gone so far left that we're going to need a significant overcorrection. And sometimes that means using words that people might find offensive.
Okay. So, all right, I understand what you're saying, that we shouldn't, be so protective, right?
Yeah, and the other thing, too, with
But
men,
you
I've
want to
noticed...
protect women, so you don't want them to be protective.
No, what I'm saying is that with men, right, when I say the term obey, guys just get it. They don't get offended by... this is actually a phenomenon I've noticed only with women. Like, when I tell guys stuff and I speak very direct, they don't care. They just consume the information. Okay, that makes sense, and move on. They're not really too concerned with how it's said or the terms that are used. But with women, a lot of the times, if I don't use certain terms or speak in a certain tone, they get offended and can't take in the information. And I think if women were a bit more receptive to the direct nature of the things I say, they'd be a lot better off because I'm very honest about it.
It sounds like men tend to obey you more than women.
Well, I mean, if they listen to what I say, they'll probably do pretty well in life, yeah.
If you want someone to obey you, why don't you just go with guys?
That's a good one.
I'm just a genuine question. Why do you care so much about women if, like, the men are listening to you just as is? You're trying to do a thing for the men, right? Do them a favor, help them out. Women aren't asking you for any help.
Yeah, no, I know that's why I focus on the guys because they're not emotionally
Then why
triggered.
are you here talking about women?
Because that is a big obstacle that a lot of guys can't fix. They can't.
Then
Basically,
why are you trying to fix it?
because if we don't have women, we don't have the nuclear family, and a lot of guys struggle with this. Now, here's the thing. I understand that you might be in a privileged position where dating and getting men to court you isn't that hard, but for average guys, it's not that easy. So
Well,
a lot
I
of
don't
guys
need
need to
anyone
learn
to
this
court
stuff.
me. I'm not looking for that. There's more to my life than worrying about what the other sex does.
Okay, well, you have that privilege since you're a woman and the men come to you. But
They
men
don't
need to
come
figure
to
this
me.
stuff out.
I came to you to talk to you.
Again.
Did you come to me? I don't think
no,
so.
No, but this is us having a discussion here. What I'm saying is that, like, you're maybe
What?
like a 3 or 4. So like you're gonna have
Okay.
more market pull, right, than a guy that's like a 7 or an 8. You're gonna have more options than the average guy. So for you, right, you're getting an abundance of options, whereas guys are not gonna get that same level. So, and the other thing too with women is, women are just simply better at dealing with the opposite gender. Men need to learn this stuff. Guys don't kind of come out understanding female nature. They have to learn this stuff either through someone teaching them or
I
through
don't think I took a
losses.
crash course on how men work.
I'm sorry?
I didn't take a crash course on how men work. Why do men need to take a crash course on women?
Because men, here's the thing, men have to build up the attraction and approach the women. They're the ones that got to make things happen. Women don't. You guys are in a privileged position where the men just come to you.
So you
But,
guys are stupid, basically.
I mean, if that's if that's the conclusion you're going to come to, I
No,
guess.
that was a question. That wasn't a conclusion. It was a question.
No, it's a learned skill that they need to develop to learn how to properly deal with women. So
Why
that
do
they
you
don't
need to
end
learn
up-
how to deal with people?
See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I teach guys to avoid women like you, as a matter of fact.
Thank you. Stay away
Yeah,
from me.
yeah. Well, I don't know. You should be in a kitchen somewhere, but it's fine. We'll have this discussion. Yeah. The reality is, what was that? Yeah. Probably
I've
can't
not
cook either.
insulted you once this entire time.
See, this is precisely the problem. Combative, assertive women that, don't want to necessarily obey or know when to, be quiet when I'm making
Who
a
the
point.
fuck are you to tell me to obey you? I'm
Yeah,
not
she's
your
really pissed.
woman. I don't need to obey you. I'm not in a relationship with you. I'm trying to have a conversation with you. I don't need to obey you.
Well, you're
under
just kind of just
means.
talking over me when I make my point or answer your questions or trying to, instigate some type of reaction, which is cool. I think it's funny. It's interesting. But
Well,
I
aren't
think,
you instigating a reaction
Yeah.
by being here on a campus with people who are more or less going to have different...
Well, I'm just telling the uncomfortable truth that a lot of people don't want to hear.
So it's okay for you to be instigative and combative whenever you want to share your truth, but when someone wants to give another side of the truth, you want them to be quiet and you think that they aren't obeying you.
Yes, because a man's job is to be a leader and be assertive and convey information. Women, you guys are supposed to be quiet and make sandwiches. That's the difference.
You can make your own sandwich. If you need to take a crash course on how to talk to other people, you can take a crash course on how to make a fucking sandwich.
Anyway.
If you're such a strong provider,
sound,
provide!
You sound mad that, do you know how to make a sandwich?
Yeah, I do. Want me to teach you?
No, thank you. That's a woman's job.
Okay.
All right, cool.
So what do you do for a living? Genuine question. What's your job?
Yeah, we get to the next person.
Why can't you answer? Why can't
I
you
think
answer
it's
what
pretty
your job
obvious
is?
what I do. I mean,
Well, it's not. I'm a stupid woman, so could you explain to me what you do as a living for your job?
okay, I'll come back to you, Ovary. Let's go to her.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
All right. So I have a couple of things. First off, throughout history, we've noticed that Western society was a lot more less developed whenever women did not have rights compared to now that women do have rights. They are inventing things such as Ada Lovelace and coding and computers. And so how would you think life would be if we never got those rights and those things were never invented?
We'd be a better society, probably.
And
Yeah.
why is that?
Well, we would have more nuclear families. We wouldn't have feminists. We wouldn't have strange progressive women that color their hair. We would just basically be better off as a society.
So you would
Because
be better
the
with no
reality-
income?
I find it
considering-
interesting that women will name one or two inventions that they've made, but almost everything that we enjoy in modernity was made by men. Men are 90% plus of the inventors. If we had to rely on female ingenuity, we'd probably still be rubbing sticks together.
Okay. So a second one for you. What about majority of education professionals being women? So we are not only cultivating the young minds, but we are also fostering care and kindness in them.
Well, that's precisely why college is a joke now. As someone who graduated from college myself from a good school, the education system and academia in general has just become, a libtard fest where people are operating not on reality and thinking that there's 99 genders and, this woke ideology, and it's kind of like the battlegrounds for that. So the universities have morphed from a place where you can get a higher education, become more intelligent, and get a job into the real world versus, just pushing a political agenda. And this is why women are starting to dominate men in college attendance, because men are kind of catching on that college is a scam in most cases.
Just to clarify, I wasn't speaking specifically of college educators. I meant more of your public school system educators, so your K through 12 and things like that.
Sure. What's your particular question?
Majority of those people that work in those education fields are women. So we are the ones that spend majority of the time with the children. And we are the ones cultivating their minds, making sure they're educated and they're kind people. So how do you think that would be if we didn't have rights to teach?
Well, again, you guys are able to do that because men have stabilized and civilized the world for you to be able to do that.
But that's not like, okay. So if we were to obey a man, then theoretically
Within a relationship.
Within a relationship.
I'm speaking specifically like if you're in a relationship together, it's the woman's job to obey her man.
Why? Why not the other way around? Who says what? You?
Well, because women can't lead anything. The only thing they can lead is to the end of the relationship. Simply doesn't work when women are in the power position in a relationship because women don't respect weak men that lead them, that they're leading.
Okay, no, a woman's not going to respect a weak man, but if they're both equals, then there will be mutual respect between both of them. And
But
that
that's the
is when it
problem.
should
Men and women are
thrive.
not equal.
How? We're the ones that give you life. Why is there no respect for that?
Well, actually, technically, we put our semen into you, and that's what creates life, not you guys. You guys just incubate.
Actually, semen can be performed and created in a lab, so we don't even need you anymore. Thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Look at that. We could be in a lab.
Hi.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
A little bit. You might have to move the mic down for her, guys.
No, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's all the way down. Damn. The struggles of being 5 foot, nothing. Anyway, what's your name?
Myron, nice to meet you.
Byron? Okay, cool.
Myron, yeah.
What is? Sorry.
Myron.
Myron,
Yeah.
gotcha. Thank you.
What's your name?
Ozzy.
Okay. How are you,
Sorry.
Ozzy?
I have no clue who you are. So this
No
is
problem.
very interesting. So I have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
I noticed that you keep up bringing up the nuclear family,
Yeah.
right? And like you put that on a pillar and that like you value it highly. That as well as like the patriarchy, and you talk about how this is like a good thing and it, benefits you and I guess women as well. And so on the patriarchy, I specifically wanted to ask you, how do you feel about the like negative implications and just like actual effects of it, both on men and, well, just mostly men?
The patriarchy?
Yes, sir.
So, okay, are you talking from the sense of like, from a modernity sense of today, or are you talking about like before? With
No, literally today.
Literally
So,
today.
Yeah, and well, I guess we could also visit like you talk about how like the nuclear family and when that was at the height was like I think was it before World War? It was like before and like during like the World Wars, like that kind of 1950s era.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I'm just trying to understand your question specifically.
Yeah, so you talk about valuing the nuclear family, and I'm trying to ask you why. So, like, if you
Why?
can, like,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
very
Yeah, so the
clearly
reason
just
why is
explain
because
that.
children are the future. And in order to raise children properly, you need a mom and a dad, right? You need that balance. So, and that can only really be done in a nuclear family. This is why I'm not a fan of gays adopting or lesbians adopting. I think, the child needs to have a strong father and a mother in the household, for the best chance at being a productive member of society. That's why the nuclear family is so important, because our future is built on that, which are the children.
Okay.
You gotta stop with the bazinga.
And then going to then the patriarchy.
The patriarchy, okay?
Yeah.
What about it?
So you're talking about how like you value it and you find it good that men are then forced to go out and do these things. So you're talking about kind of like the men's rights issues, right?
Yes, I think there's a burden of performance on us. And I think that's something to embrace and rise to versus trying to be equal to women.
Okay, so you believe that men should not have a choice.
As far as in what regard? Working?
Not just working, but just style of life and like, so taking away that choice from men and just generally from people of like their direction in life.
I think every guy should be prioritizing, whether they're building themselves up to eventually have a family, right? I understand that, for men, it takes time for us to acquire our value versus women kind of have the value up front. But I do think that every guy should be striving to become successful so that eventually a family will be dependent upon him.
Okay. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, I don't think women should be working. I think they should be prioritizing motherhood, not jobs.
So then so taking our society and the amount of people that it takes to run a fully functioning, well-endowed society, that takes people of all kinds of creed, right?
Sure.
So when you take away that matter of choice from both men and women and everyone in between, why do you then believe that that will be a better society?
Well, the thing is this, right? So you're mentioning this thing about choice, and I think that's an illusion, right? And we need to be honest here when it comes to women pursuing education and a career. What we tell them is, hey, look, go get a job, make money, enter the workforce, and then you can have a family at the end of that. And what ends up happening a lot of times is women follow this route, get an education, get money, get a job, get a good career, and then when they try to find a guy at the end of that, it becomes significantly harder. Because what's ended up happening is the woman has risen up in status, risen up in her income, and her standards are higher, so a lot of guys aren't going to qualify. And I think if we were honest with women and told them, look, if you pursue a career, there's a very good chance that you might not get your first choice. I think that's a good starting point. Obviously, we can't just like say, take all the jobs and that's it. But I think we need to start being more honest with women and letting them understand that you got to pick one. You can't really have it all. And this is something that we've been lying to women about for decades, that they can have it all. And then they end up at 31 years old, unmarried, no kids, wondering why guys don't take them seriously. But it's because they didn't know the truth about this stuff.
So then how do you feel about the same thing, but then happening towards men? Like,
in what regard?
Take you, for example. You say that you have, I think you mentioned you have an open relationship, but specifically on your end.
Only on my end, yeah.
So you take the nuclear family, which is a loyal and faithful husband.
Only women could be sluts. We are the slut makers. This girl's over here trying to call me a slut. Hey, we're the slut makers, man. There's no such thing as a man that's a slut.
May I continue?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. So you're talking about how you have an open relationship. So you have the nuclear family.
Yep.
The stereotypical nuclear family is a loyal working husband who goes to the office or whatever, makes money, comes home to his wife, provides for his wife, takes care of his wife. You value highly the nuclear family, but you yourself are not taking a part of it. Why is that?
Well, I have a certain goal that I want to hit financially before I, go ahead and have a family. I have some business aspirations, and I want to make sure I get that out of the way so that when it is time to be a father, I can focus 100% on that and not necessarily be as tied up with work. So and that's kind of one of the, the good things about being a man is that though we are not born with value, if we work hard enough, we can create value, and that gives us a bit more time on the time clock. Versus for women, they have a fairly finite amount of time to be able to build a family. So for me, I'm focused on hitting a certain financial goal first so that when I do have my children, money never becomes a problem again.
But you talk about how women are born with an inherent value.
Yes.
I would differ that men are as well. And what you are doing, so the nuclear family, part of men's value comes from being loyal and being hardworking. And I feel like when you miss half of that, like what you're doing, you are then degrading, thank you, whoever said that, the nuclear family and the idea of this, because you take this very almost shallow and kind of hollow, because every person has issues and the nuclear family is by no means perfect. And you are then kind of showing the issues with it by your own actions and by your own kind of disregard for.
Well, my thing is, I think, again, I teach guys, hey, look, this is what you need to do, right? This is how you become attractive, get your life together. Now, when I arm guys with these tools, what they choose to do it is up to them. If they want to go ahead and have a family immediately, that's fine. If they want to go ahead and, play the field, that's fine. But my thing is I want men to be in a position. The problem is that a lot of guys are in a relationship where their woman controls everything. She's making the decisions. She's bossing him around. There's no leadership there. I want the guy to be in a position where he can kind of dictate the terms. And if he decides, look, I want a family and I want to have a family early, I want him to do that through choice, not through necessity. A lot of guys are monogamous or in a relationship through necessity, not because they want to be. So I just want guys to be able to have that choice. That's the big thing. And then eventually, obviously, work towards a family. But I think the other thing, too, that's important is that men have to understand how modern women work.
My last question here is,
Sure.
what's your goal with coming out to this college campus where you have all of these people who very obviously are heckling you and do not want you to be here? What's your goal? Because obviously you're not really going to change people's minds with some of the more hateful messages that you're portraying. Like, why are you here?
To start a revolution, to tell people the truth, something that's been missing for a very long time. Hey, you know white knighting the girls isn't going to get you laid, right? Doesn't work. Okay, yeah.
I'll be quick here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to thank the whole crowd for uniting against this man. I am proud of our campus. I am proud of us. I was scared seeing these posters, genuinely, because I didn't know who would show up to this event. Thank you so much, everyone. You guys are great. Thank you to all our question people. And I'm not going to thank you. I think you are a weird person.
Good one. You know, I think it's interesting that you say that because I think, see, the reality is there's a silent majority that agrees with me. This is why Trump won. Because guys know, right? This is why Trump won. Because the good thing about liberals, right? This is what's good about liberals. Liberals, right, tend to be louder. You guys tend to hit the streets. You guys tend to protest. You guys tend to be loud, which is great. Something I actually applaud you guys for. But nowadays, I think people are waking up slowly but surely, and I think the landslide victory that Trump had proves that a lot more guys are starting to look towards the conservatism and the right wing versus radical left wing beliefs because, you know, it just doesn't serve us to be liberal, and we can see that there. But yeah.
Bring it up just a little bit. Can I bring this up just?
There's a loud minority. What's up, man?
Hey, can I bring this up a little bit? Is that okay? Okay. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you remember me at all?
No.
Okay. So can I ask a quick synopsis of what you think the prescription is for society today for men? In a short version. What do you think they should do to be successful with women?
To be successful with women,
Yeah.
okay, are we talking about like getting a girl for a long-term relationship, just to get laid? What are we talking about?
Well,
here?
I think the only reason should be for a long-term relationship and marriage. I mean, that's Jesus Christ founded it. But I'm just curious what your prescription is.
Well, I've talked about this. I think guys have to have certain things in place, right, before they want to get into a long-term relationship. It's 5 things. So I would say $100K per year, 6 figures a year, 6 months to 1 year of savings, be in good shape, have at least 50 partners, right, sexual body count.
All right. And then is that the last one?
And then there's one more, but that's fine. You could go ahead and
Okay.
engage with what I've said so far.
So the reason I asked that is I've watched almost every single podcast you ever did for about a year and a half. So much so that I bought into a lot of the things that you said. And for about 2 years, it led me astray and significantly damaged my personal life, including relationships.
How did it lead you astray?
Well, you told me to go sleep with a bunch of women and date multiple women at the same time, which I did. And it significantly damaged my life. And it wasn't until I actually turned around and started listening to Jesus Christ that I was saved. Now I'm happily married. I have one child now with another one on the way, and I've never felt happier. But I felt...
Congratulations, that's good. That's really good.
Thank you. And I know you're not against that, but my concern is what you're saying to men leads them astray because I'm a walking example of it. And I think you're significantly damaging people, and especially you're leading people away from morality. Women are not sex objects. Women are created in the image of God, and they are valuable. And they should be treated as such. Why should God give you one of his children if you don't even know how to treat them? So I think...
So a question for you. You said you got out there dating and meeting women and stuff like
Yep.
that. And then you said that it kind of hurt you.
Yeah.
How did it hurt you specifically? Did you like just start? What happened specifically?
Well, I started warring against my own flesh. It's like trying to fill an empty void. There's a God-shaped vacuum in the heart of every man that can only be filled by God alone. Anything else you try to fill with that's not going to satisfy it.
Sure.
And I tried to do it with sex.
Yeah. So, would it be fair? How'd you meet your wife?
We actually had the #1 dating podcast in North and South Carolina called Who Hurt You Podcast.
Okay.
And I'm also friends with Fresh. I know him very well. I texted him before I came here.
Yeah.
And I know pretty much everyone on your crew. But I was a heavy follower, and you actually inspired me to start the podcast, and I realized what I was doing was wrong.
Yeah. So, would it be fair to say that when you went through that experience, you were able to identify characteristics that you probably found as unredeemable and you probably wouldn't want to commit to, right?
In what way?
Well, when you were seeing these women, right, you probably started seeing patterns in how they behave, how they speak, or whatever. Maybe they're not qualified to be a wife. Because the thing is, right?
Well, I don't need that. I have the Bible for that. It tells me what to look for.
Yeah, but the thing is that you were able, and again, you're probably not going to notice it, but when you dated and dealt with all these women, you probably were able to identify characteristics that you were not fond of, or characteristics that would make a woman not a good candidate for a long-term relationship. And I think half the game is figuring out which girls don't qualify for marriage versus which ones that do. And clearly you learned a skill set on how to become attractive and get women, and then you're able to identify the things that you like versus the things that you don't like, and that only comes a lot of times with experience. Now look, if a guy can go ahead and, find a woman as a virgin and be attractive and be able to understand how to navigate that, that's great in modern times. But the reality is a lot of guys don't. And I mean, even in your success story, you had to go through a lot of bad women to be able to identify your current wife as the one. So failures are good. They're good.
Yeah, failures, excuse me, failures in the sense of socioeconomic or maybe even relationship failures could be good. But there's a difference with what I'm saying. I'm saying that we're warned against our soul. Jesus Christ commands us to marry one woman. That's it.
Sure.
And what you were causing me to do was sin against myself. And that's the point I'm trying to get to. It's immoral.
Yeah, I mean, you got to
take
take personal responsibility, bro, because here's the reality.
No, I do, 100%.
Yeah, so
very publicly, I
and
have in front of over 40,000 people. I've done that.
Yeah, great. But the point I'm trying to make is I teach guys a skill set, right? If I give you a gun and you shoot yourself in the foot, is that my fault? If I taught you how to properly use it, how to disarm it, disassemble it, how to load the magazine in properly, all that. If I give you the skill set, then you shoot yourself in the foot, right? Is that really my fault? No, I just arm you with the skill set. Then you choose what you want to do with it. Now, obviously, you wanted to go on toward a sex escapade, which is, I guess, fine. But the reality is, I armed you with the tools to become an attractive guy, and you utilize that. You can't come back and get mad.
No,
and
you
say,
didn't arm me with that. I became attractive when I followed Jesus. That was it.
Oh, okay. Now it's changing the story.
No, I'm not changing any story. It's one thing to be attractive in the sense of gaining sexual partners, but it's a completely different thing to be attractive to someone that wants to marry you and spend their life with you and have kids with you. Those are two completely different sexual attractions. If I walk in here looking like Thor, I'm 6'2" and shredded, obviously I'm going to be attractive to women, but it doesn't mean that that's a relationship that produces value for me and my family.
And again, everyone is different, right? For you, it took some time, and you found God, and you shifted. But the reality is, I gave you the skill set, and then you choose what you want to do. That's up to you, and you made that decision, not me. I just taught you what to do,
exactly.
how to do it.
It's on me 100%. I'm not placing blame on you. But what I'm telling you, from someone that listens
here's the other
to you,
thing
I'm
too
trying
that
to
you
let
got to
know what
understand.
happens when you speak to people and tell them to do these things.
Here's the other thing too. Like now, you're operating with 20/20 hindsight. You went through it. You experienced
Correct.
it. You
That's
know.
true.
A lot of guys need to get their hand burned sometimes to figure out how things work. Because let's be honest, men are very stubborn.
Why do they need to do that? If they find a God-fearing woman, they wouldn't do half the stuff you're talking about.
Well, here's the thing. Finding a God-fearing woman in today's day and age is a lot harder said than done, right? So
I did it.
Yeah, it's a lot harder
and
said
so did
than
everyone
done.
in my whole family. So it's not that hard.
Yeah, that's anecdotal from your perspective. But again, you learned the skill set. You were able to find a wife, and I'm happy about that. But you got to take a little bit of accountability here and understand that you basically got a loaded gun and shot yourself in the foot, and you're trying to blame me for it.
No, I'm not blaming you. Like I said, I take accountability.
Yeah.
There's a big difference there.
Okay.
But look, nothing against you. Like I said, I've hung out with Fresh 8 or 9 times recently. I love them, and I think your heart is in the right place. But I just wanted to give you from someone that actually listened to what you were saying to do, read your book, and it didn't work. That's all I was trying to do for you.
Well, actually, it did. You didn't notice it yet.
Okay.
You're not going to be able to identify your wife and have been able to find her and figure out what characteristics you like and don't like, right, unless you went through that.
My wisdom came from the Bible, not you, but I appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, it looks like they're trying to shut us down, guys. Oh, man. Keep going. Okay. All right, who's up next?
How'd you pull 50 women?
1:30. I thought we were going till 5.
You don't want to wrap it up. So, no, we had it till 5.
I mean, y'all tell me you guys booked it. Oh, man, they're trying to shut us down, man. Shut it down. Yeah, we got an awesome crowd here, man. Yeah. I mean, we could roll without the security. We could roll without the security, man. I mean, I'm not worried. I mean, we could roll without the security. We had it till 5, but okay. They're trying to shut it down. I guess a couple feminists complained. Yeah, it's so funny, bro. It's like, this stuff is offensive. We got to shut it down. So. Yeah, no, it's comedy, man. It's comedy. But no, we got a pretty good big crowd out here, man. This is great. I guess people like to hear the truth, man. Unfiltered. It's so rare nowadays. Right, we got white knights on the left-hand side trying to heckle. We got angry feminists. We got lesbians, trannies coming up. It's awesome, man. Yeah. They had a drag show here? Oh, wow. Oh, man. Yeah, when they have the drag show, no one cares, right? Then shut that one down. But having a real talk on, societal problems, they're trying to shut it down. So. What's going on, guys? You want to? All right. Yeah? Okay. All right. Who's up next? I guess the show goes on. The show goes on, baby. Wolf of Wall Street. Not fucking leaving!
All right, so I'm just wondering, like, you were talking about that you had sex with 50 women before you got married. Like,
No, I'm not married.
Oh, okay. Before you want to get married, like, how do you plan on doing that? Do you like get blackout drunk at the bars and go for the twos, or like what's your strat there?
To get laid?
Yeah.
Oh, to reach the 50?
Yeah, you just get like blackout drunk and go for
No, I don't
anything?
drink.
Okay.
I don't drink.
Well then, like.
I don't drink. Don't smoke weed.
Then,
And
like,
I
how are you
think
getting
all
there?
guys should like totally drop using drugs, or I don't think guys should be smoking weed or drinking alcohol at all. I think it's very poisonous. So.
No, yeah, that's fair. It's just like, I don't think you're getting that number, to be honest.
For me or
Yeah.
me personally?
Yeah, you aren't.
Sure. I don't have
Yeah.
that number. Sure.
All right, have a good day.
All right.
Not as serious this question as some people have, but
Okay.
do you play basketball at all?
I did back in the day.
All right, so back in the day, like we put you in a WNBA game. How many points you dropping?
Playing against WNBA players?
Yes, because you said earlier, like an hour ago, that women you could do better than anything, and someone
No.
said WNBA.
Yeah, I said the WNBA is not profitable and the NBA subsidizes it, and women's sports, no one really cares.
Wait, but you still said you could do something better than them. But
No,
so like,
I said that I said that this is why young men, like a high school team,
Yeah.
can be professionals. Like high school boys have been professional athletes that are women.
Agreed. Yeah, it's been proven.
That's
yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I agree with that.
And you know, it's interesting because a lot of these people that are saying this stuff, have you been to a WNBA game before? Exactly.
I never will, probably.
Exactly. And a lot of the people that are saying, "Oh yeah, women's sports, they would never attend the WNBA."
I agree, yeah.
It's just virtue signaling, right? Like, I actually am being honest here and saying that female sports are pretty pointless and no one watches it because it's not interesting.
Well, that's only because of Caitlin Clark, but that's only because of one person.
Bro's talking about one game when the league is always negative and needs to get subsidized. Like, okay, cool. So, yeah. See, I'm just saying what everyone thinks. I mean, I don't think any of you guys here on the left go to WNBA games. None of you do. But again, I'm just being honest about it. Female sports suck.
So do you answer? I just want to hear can you drop 20 points in a WNBA game?
I don't know, man. I haven't played in years, dude. So I don't know. I'm getting old. So.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
How are you?
I'm great. So I understand that this is all just rage bait and this is how you make money. And that's kind of embarrassing, honestly.
Yeah.
But I just have to ask, what do you think of your mom?
What do I think of my mom?
Your mom.
It's actually my mom that instilled a lot of these ideas in me. She's the one that warned me.
Really?
Yeah.
So she's anti-woman too?
No, she's anti-whore.
Anti-whore?
Yeah. No, I'm the whore maker.
It sounds kind of like
Men can't be whores, ladies. Men can't be whores. Men can't be whores. Only women can be whores.
Can you give me a definition that backs that up?
I'm sorry?
A definition of some kind that backs that up?
Backs what up? That men are not whores?
That men cannot be whores because anyone can be a whore. Anybody can sleep around, and men do it way more than women do.
Yeah, well, actually, so here's the thing. Whore, if I can, okay. Can you guys all hear me still? Okay. Whore is a pejorative term. So typically, well, let me ask you a question. What's your body count?
My body count?
Yeah.
I'd rather not share that on the internet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, here's the thing. I knew you were going to say that. But hold on. There's a reason why you don't want to disclose that.
Yes, because I have free will and I can say what I want. Thank you.
No, sure. But let's actually peel the layer back, right? Okay. The reason why you don't want to disclose it, as well as women in general don't want to disclose that, because women understand that their sexuality defines their value in the dating marketplace. So even though women sit there, oh, look at this, she's literally losing her mind. Even though
I've talked to men before that.
Let me just finish my point, okay. Right? So women instinctually know that their body count directly affects, and their past promiscuity directly affects their ability to find a suitor in the future, right? So when people use a term like whore, which is a pejorative term, that's attributed to women because you guys care about your body count because that limits your ability to find a man. But for us, the more partners we have, typically the more value we have. Because as a man, for you to be able to get a lot of sex, you have to bring something to the table, right? Men that have sex with a lot of women typically have some kind of money, some status, they're charming, they have something.
Can I speak?
Well, I'm finishing my point to answer your question. So men have to bring something to the table to be promiscuous. Women don't. So that's why it's not respected.
I think every woman here would agree that we don't want men bringing their sexual experience and sluttiness to the table. We want men bringing their kindness, their godliness, their honesty, their communication skills, their education. And by the way, did you know that over half of this campus is women?
Yeah, I know. Women dominate college attendance, which is one of the problems. But regardless, so, and this is why college is a scam in most cases. But yeah, the reality is the things you just mentioned, this is what I mean, right? So I'm going to translate that womanese for you guys. So she said, we want guys that are knowledgeable and nice or whatever. This is women speaking from a perspective that the guy's already attractive. But the reality is nice guys don't, there's a reason why nice guys finish last as a phrase. Women say these things, but you're not actually aroused by it. You want the bad boy. You want the guys that are attractive, the guys that can tell you to shut up, make a sandwich, right?
I think you're stuck in 1950 and you need to wake up and realize you're in 2025.
No, that's precisely my point is we're 2025 and women have changed.
For the better.
For the worse, actually, but that's fine.
Okay.
But
did you know that a woman invented Wi-Fi? You couldn't even upload your rage bait videos without her.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Fantastic.
Yep.
If we had to rely on your guys' ingenuity, okay, we'd be rubbing sticks on Wi-Fi. Fantastic. if we had to rely on female ingenuity, we'd still be rubbing sticks together for fires
I think-
with some Wi-Fi.
I think you should take up comedy. You're really funny. You're really, really funny.
I do it part-time.
Part-time?
Part-time.
Seems like it's full-time.
Okay. I will definitely pursue it.
Okay.
Stand-up show coming soon. But yeah, men can't be whores because it is difficult for a man to be a whore, and whore is a pejorative term that is only attributed to women because it's easy for you guys to get sex, not easy for us. Men have to bring something to the table to get sexual access. Women don't.
Because women are picky and women aren't easy and we don't go for anything with a hole. Thank you.
Proves my point. Proves my point. All right, who's up next?
You don't want to talk to me anymore? You don't like talking to me?
I just want to give everybody a chance, right? So.
Okay,
I know
thank
you
you.
love talking to me, but we got to move to the next person.
I do. Have a great day. Thank you.
Sure. And I encourage any of the hecklers here on the left, you guys can go ahead and get in line as well and have a discussion. Because just screaming isn't really going to do anything. Get in a line and back up your worldview. Go ahead. But
Hi,
you're
Myron.
here. So this guy said, we don't want to hear you talk, but he's here. That doesn't make sense. Go ahead.
Do you mind if I ask you a little bit of a deviation from the topic?
All right. If it's not too far off, but go ahead.
I think there's some way that these ideas can be linked. So you famously said that Hitler did things that were morally incorrect. He definitely did a bunch of things that were correct for his country. Can you just explain what things Hitler did for Nazi Germany that were quote unquote good?
Sure. Now that's way off the topic.
Well, I mean, you
but
can
what
talk
we
about
do
women
is-
in the Nazi movement if you want to.
Well, here's the thing. We're here to talk about why women deserve less, but we could. How about this? Let me answer a couple of these questions that are on topic, and then I could definitely do that one.
Why don't you
Because
address
that
it
will
now?
take the conversation somewhere else.
Okay, then I can ask a question that's on topic.
Sure.
Do you
And then
bel-
I'd be happy to engage with you on that because we have limited time. That's why.
Sure, okay.
If we're able to stay here till 5 like they originally told us, I'd be totally down to answer that.
So, do you believe in free market capitalism?
The thing is I'm an American nationalist, and once it starts to impede Americans' ability to get jobs, and we're bringing in H-1B visas or foreigners for work that an American can do, I'm opposed to that. I think we need to focus on America first, America only, and that's what we should be doing. Not necessarily turning the country into just we want to focus on the economy. I think we have a national pride that we need to adhere to.
Okay, I don't understand why you entertained that question, but not the one that came before on what
Well, I'm
Nazi
assuming
Germany
that's
that was
a lead up
positive.
to something with feminism. I'm assuming.
I mean, it's possible, but you kind of preempted what I was going to say, so I'm going to give the mic to someone else.
Okay.
But
Well,
I
stick
would-
around. I'd be happy to discuss that part.
I mean, I got things to do. Could you just address it right now?
Well, here's the thing. We got a lot of people here, and it's I'd have to go into detail and stuff like that. So, but yeah.
Okay. I mean,
sure. I mean,
that doesn't satisfy me. I really don't want to wait around here for you to
That's
address
fine.
me
You don't have to. You don't have to
specifically.
wait. That's totally cool.
It would be nice if you could address the assembled people here as to why you think Nazi Germany is good, but I will relent the microphone.
Okay. Sure. Go ahead. Well, I'm trying to stay on topic here because we don't have much time. We got about 20 minutes, unless they try to kick us out again.
Okay, so I have a question.
Go ahead.
If you hate women so much, why don't you just date
I
men?
never said I hate women.
You said women deserve less. Isn't that hating them? Why don't you just date men?
Well, number one, I don't hate women. Number two, and I like how you immediately came to that conclusion. I think if anything, we need to give women less because we care about them, and the reason for that is because women want a guy that is attractive, and attraction a lot of times comes from you being dominant and assertive and not necessarily listening to everything that she wants, and you're being a boss. That's what women want. So I think you're actually doing her a service by making her work for your validation, your attention as a man.
That's just your preference. I don't know how many women you've met like that, but not all women are the same.
Well, the reality is most women don't want to be in a relationship with a guy who isn't competent, leadership traits, attractive, tall, good shape, etc. Women want a guy
That's
that
what
has
you
his stuff
want in a
together.
man.
I'm sorry?
Why do you keep describing what women want in a man? You're just
Because it's a fact.
it's
biological
not a fact. You're describing what you want in men.
Okay, good one. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been shown throughout time that, women have a pretty narrow attraction trigger base of what they like in men.
And you have a narrow attraction trigger base too. You just want women with 0 body counts and
all that.
Okay. That's not what I said. I think you're misrepresenting my position. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you like men.
Okay. Good one. If you guys are going to make ad hominems, man, like at least like practice it before.
I haven't been here the whole time, so I apologize
Sure.
if this question's been asked before.
Sure.
When you say women deserve less, is that from you or the majority of men, from the world?
I think men need to stop simping on women. I think it's a problem. So when I say women deserve less, what I mean by that is guys need to kind of go into a relationship and make women earn their validation and resources and everything else that comes with being in a relationship.
So I'm confused how women needing to show their worth equals them deserving less.
Well, the thing is that a lot of women are very entitled and they think, oh, I'm just here. You know, I want you to do X, Y, Z. And I need guys to basically understand their value and make women earn that validation, because the problem is, thanks to social media and dating apps and everything else, women have an abundance of options. And if you're just another sucker that's going to be a nice guy and spend your time, resource, energy on her, you're not going to differentiate yourself. So guys need to kind of go into relationships with a little bit more self-respect and give them less, especially up front.
Okay, so the statement women deserves less is to encourage men to make women believe they also deserve less?
Well, I think it's pretty
for
much instilling.
relationships?
It's instilling a relationship dynamic where the woman needs to work to get his validation. She's just not going to get it off for just existing and having a vagina.
So they still deserve good things, but only if they are good themselves.
They got to earn it. Yep.
Okay.
That's what it comes down to. I'm all for men treating women nice and, you know, obviously paying for dates, taking them out, committing to them. I'm all for that, but I think that most women simply don't qualify for that because a lot of women have bad habits. A lot of them are rude, obnoxious, masculine. These are things that guys should be looking out for to avoid.
So what qualities?
Like these women over here, for example.
So what qualities?
Like that's not ladylike behavior to like just yell and heckle on the left-hand side.
So what qualities in a woman would make her deserve what you would consider?
Well, I think that's
Good
dependent
man.
upon the man. I think, you know, depending on where the guy is and what he's looking for, I think a woman's job is kind of to adhere to his program and get on what he needs done. Because every guy is different, right, on what preferences they have, maybe with the way that she looks versus what she provides to him. But I think that's based on the guy, and it's the woman's job to figure that out.
But do you believe that you should choose your partner as they come, not to change them?
I'm sorry?
Do you believe that you should choose your partner as they come, not to change them?
No, actually, I think you do need to change them to a degree. I think a part of, and the reason why is because, so we live in this gynocentric society that's wired women to think a certain way that doesn't adhere to a good relationship dynamic, right? They're taught, you know, pursue a career, have sex with as many men as you want, be sexually liberated, behave like a man, be masculine, be obnoxious, challenge him. These are things that men are not attracted to, but most men are not honest with what they actually are attracted to. Because they get a lot of hate, as you guys can see right now, right? I'm saying these things that a lot of men think, but, you know, this is quite a bit of heckling here. So there's a reason why men don't speak up about this, because if they speak up about it, they're going to be labeled a misogynist, a sexist, an asshole. And a lot of guys think the way that I do, but they never actually express it out verbally. So,
I
yeah.
feel like a better strategy for supporting men to have better standards would be to ask, like, I don't know, not say women deserve less, but give them qualities to look out for.
But you're going to inevitably have to give them less to find those qualities, is my point.
I thought you said, like,
In the vetting phase, when you're first seeing her, you're going to have to give her less to be able to, you know.
Say the woman shows
her.
up with all these qualities. Say she shows up with feminism and quietness and a pursuit of societally feminine qualities. Like, if she already comes with all these great qualities, does that mean
So you mean
she
she's not a
wouldn't deserve
feminist?
less?
So you mean she's not a feminist?
She can be a feminist, but also just adhere to more societally feminine roles.
Well, the problem with that is that if she's a feminist, that inherently means that she thinks she's equal to the man, and that's problematic.
I would say that's not quite the definite. Well, honestly, feminism.
Well, let me ask you this.
Pretty equal. To
Would it be
men.
fair to say that women want a man that's taller than them?
Societally, like, masculine
Yeah.
standards?
Like
I would
taller-
say if they're societally feminine.
No. Yeah, okay.
So
would it be fair to say that women want a guy that makes more money than they do? In
if they're
general.
societally traditional.
In general, yeah. Would it be fair to say that a woman wants a guy that's stronger than her, that could protect her?
If she's also traditional. in beliefs.
Okay. So the reality is that women are looking for a superior. They're not looking for an inferior. And even the women that are the staunchest of feminists still want a man that's going to make more money than them, still be more competent than them. As a matter of fact, the more of a feminist she is and the more money she makes and the more status she has, the higher her demands actually go. So, women will sit there and say, oh, I want an equal partner. But when you look at her partner, a lot of times he's actually superior to her.
So you're saying in order for a woman to deserve something, she must just have these traditional qualities and the man must also have these traditional qualities?
Well, here's the thing. Every man is different and looks for certain things. I think the thing is that he's got to kind of come in and understand this is how a lot of modern women are. If she has certain bad habits, you're going to have to deprogram that out and just go from there. Or some girls might not even be worth it. She has to obviously have potential. But if she doesn't have potential, then don't waste your time.
So a man, even if he's not these traditional masculine qualities, should still pursue a woman with all these traditional feminine qualities in order to fulfill his ego?
No, I think men need to rise to the occasion. If you want a submissive, traditional female, you need to be the dominant, assertive male, and you adhere to your duties. I'm very big on the men. You can't demand a feminine woman while being a feminine man. It doesn't make sense.
So should I say men deserve less in order to encourage women to find men with less qualities in order to find a partner they're hoping to change?
Well, no. It's the reason why the women deserve less is because we have a simp problem. We have guys that are over here giving women a lot of attention and resources simply for the fact that they have a vagina. That's the problem. It's on the male side. With women, you guys kind of already have your pick of the litter, so I have to teach men this stuff, not necessarily women.
I see. So women are good at having good standards and men are not, and that's why we say women deserves less?
Well, typically men take whatever they can get. Women wait out for the best option that they can get. Men take, women want the best they can get. Men can take whatever they can get. So I'm trying to get guys to understand their value and only wife out women that are worthy, because a lot aren't.
So in order for a man to find a woman that's worthy, we have to convince all the women that they're not worthy.
No, the girl that he's dating, she needs to prove herself.
Yes, so
gotta
inherently
put her through her
believe that
paces.
she is not worthy on her own and must prove herself. Right?
Yes. Just like the man must prove himself to become attractive in the first place.
I mean, I think both sides of the relationship need to prove themselves.
But here's the difference. We don't tell that enough to women. That's the issue.
I think it's because
We tell women that they're perfect just the way that they are, and that's a lie. We tell men all the time you need to rise to the occasion. We got standards on men, but we don't put standards on women. No matter how rude, crass, obnoxious they are, how fat they are, we don't give them any standards.
And I feel like that's mainly because women in society...
We don't tell men love your curves. We tell women that. We don't tell women to do the right thing. We tell do what's right for you. We tell men do the right thing. Women do what's right for you. So we don't really have societal boundaries on females. And if a man does express societal boundaries...
Who's guiding the societal statements? It's men. It's men not supporting men.
Well, that's why I'm here. Tell them the truth.
So let's exclude women and focus on men supporting men.
That's what I'm doing. But for them to understand this stuff, I have to talk about, obviously, this obstacle that's in a way that messes a lot of them up. Because they might go ahead and make money, become successful, but they can't figure out women.
Well, I think a lot of times they can find success without women, and it might even be a faster route.
Success in what regard, though? If they want to have a family, they're going to need a female.
I feel like they should find success before finding the female.
I agree with you on that.
And then they'll find a female that's also successful.
Well, I mean, every guy's different, but men typically don't care about a woman's success.
Okay, but successful for you would mean a traditional feminine trait.
Yeah.
So if he
But it
has
seemed to
this-
me like you meant to end the way where, like, academic achievement or monetary, because you come...
No,
okay.
well, yeah, I'm sorry. I just meant considering
Men typically don't
your
care about a
version of a
woman's-
woman's success is that.
In general, typically most guys don't care about a woman's ability to create resources.
I mean,
Men don't care about
traditionally, in society.
I mean, in general. Like, guys don't care about how much money a woman makes or her career.
I would argue that's more of a society evolutionary thing than biological, but
Yeah. Next? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll keep going. Yeah, we'll see until they kick us out, I guess.
Yeah.
What's up?
Hi, I'm Kenny.
Hi.
I use all pronouns, of course.
Sure.
Yeah. True.
I'm sorry, you said you use what pronoun?
I use all pronouns.
Oh, you use all of them?
Yes.
Okay, you're a she, right?
You could say that, yes.
Okay. Just so I know what I'm dealing with here, how many genders are there?
Multiple.
Okay, interesting. All right, what's your question?
But of course, you want to know that there's only 2 genders, correct?
Yes, there are.
Male and female, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you would consider yourself a high-value man, correct?
Nope, never said that.
No.
I don't think you can attribute that title to yourself. I think that's something that other people recognize.
Other people recognize. So you yourself, that you recognize that you are high value?
I mean, if people see me that way, you know, I don't think you can really call yourself like that's like calling yourself alpha. I think that's very cheesy and tacky. I think you know, your reputation precedes you. That's what I think it should be, or how it is.
Okay. And you yourself, you say you have a wife, correct?
No, I don't have a wife.
You don't have a wife. Okay. But you do find yourself accompanied with other women, correct?
In what way?
I mean, you could. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like on the show, because like, yeah, we bring girls on our show and everything.
No.
Okay. Yeah, so like me dealing with other women?
Yes.
Yeah, what about it?
Okay. Do those other women, you know, value themselves? What kind of career do those women have when they come to you?
I mean, I don't really care about it.
Why not?
Because generally speaking, men don't care about a woman's career. We just don't.
But you said you should bring more to the table. So why not a career? Why not a high-paying, valued
All right, well,
job?
okay, let's go through this. So let's say I told you, me and you were on a date, right? And I told you, hypothetically, again, you could, the purpose is bear with me here. I know you hate me and everything, but yeah.
Oh, I don't hate you.
So,
I'm just trying to see.
So let's assume, right, we're on a date and I tell you, hey, look, I have like this awesome Jordan collection. I got these designer wallets. I got like this walk-in closet. It's awesome. What's your thoughts with that?
You buy a lot of expensive things. Yes.
Okay, so what else comes to mind when I'm talking about my obsession for fashion?
You like fashion. You like to dress up, essentially.
Okay, but what's your opinion on that?
What else is my opinion?
So would it be fair to say
you're a rich man because you can afford Jordan's designer clothes?
Okay, but let me ask you this: would it be fair to say that you'd be indifferent to me saying that?
Yes, because
okay, hold on.
What's the point?
Pause that. Thank you. That's exactly how we feel about women's careers.
What? What do you mean?
No, hold on. No, I really want you to take that in.
Huh?
That same level of indifference, right, that you have for me having an awesome wardrobe or sneakers or whatever, you're indifferent to it. That's exactly how men feel about women's careers, and I'll explain what I mean by this. Because my wardrobe doesn't benefit you, right? It doesn't benefit you.
No.
Same thing. A woman's career doesn't benefit us. It doesn't benefit us because we're still going to be expected to be a protector and a provider. So this is why, in general, men don't care about women's careers. It doesn't benefit us. Just like my shoe collection doesn't benefit you.
But you can't attribute a piece of wardrobe to a career.
I'm just giving you a functional equivalent. Like that's how, like the way you view the whole closet thing. That's how we view women in relationship, women in education and a career. We don't care.
Okay, so you're saying I should value myself less to achieve a man who will protect me, provide everything I need. Basically, rich, tall, strong, masculine. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think you should value yourself less.
But you said women deserve less, so therefore, me, I deserve less.
Yeah, I don't think men should be simping on women. They got to earn that.
But you clearly haven't earned it yourself, because no one respects you right here.
I'm sorry?
But you clearly don't deserve it either. You're saying men should not be simps for women,
yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Men shouldn't be simps for women because let's say, they have too many cons instead of pros. So women should be leaning to more the submissive, the more traditional housewife, not a feminist either.
You're kind of jumbling a bunch of things together. I don't quite understand what you're trying to ask or say
Okay,
here.
so you want... Oh, I'm sorry. I'll explain this in crayon eating terms.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Why should not men not be simps? Especially if you're looking for a long-term relationship, let's say a wife, you want to have kids, you want to settle down.
I think you mean why should men not be simps?
Yeah, why shouldn't they?
Well, the problem is that when you're a simp, women don't respect you. Women don't respect simps.
Okay.
They just don't.
So
This
what
is
if
just
it's
the reality.
Okay. If it's the other way around, women should not be simps for men.
Well, no, actually, women should simp for their man.
But why?
Why?
Because women deserve less?
Okay, I'll tell you why. Because men typically know how to deal with attention and validation from women better than women do, and I'll tell you what I mean by this. So a young man will go through his life a lot of the times, maybe not get a kiss from a girl, maybe not get a gift from a woman, maybe not have a date, whatever it may be. It's really hard for a lot of guys. So when guys get attention or affection from women, we typically tend to remember that, right? Men might go through their entire life without getting a gift, versus a woman, she's going to be courted, she's going to get simps on her all the time. Women don't really know how to appreciate male attention because you guys get so much of it, right? But us, on the other hand, men, especially when they've worked and made themselves attractive, we know how to appreciate women treating us well. But women typically don't know how to appreciate men treating them well. This is why guys get stuck in the friend zone, right? So it's completely different. Because since we don't get the abundance of attention that you guys do, we're able to better appreciate that attention when we do get it. Does that make sense?
So why don't you put yourself out there more? Be more attractive to women, of course.
This is what I tell guys to do. But that takes time.
But it takes time?
Takes a lot of time.
To make yourself attractive?
For men, yes. The things that make a man attractive take time to accumulate.
Okay. In your own words, what makes a man attractive?
A bunch of things. Competency, network, income, title, the ability to be a leader, experience. This is basically the things that men need to have in place to be attractive to a large demographic of females.
Okay. What should a man's title be?
I'm sorry?
You said title. What does title mean? And of course, in your standards.
Oh, I mean as in like what he identifies as his like career.
As his career?
Yes.
So you're saying...
What he does for a profession.
Okay.
Men are typically defined by their careers.
All right.
And what they do.
All right. So what are women defined as? Instead of, boobs, breast, and all.
Having a family.
Having a family?
Yes.
And that's
raising the next generation of children and people.
Okay, so you're saying...
I think that's the best thing a woman can do, not her career.
Okay. So men should not be sent for women.
Yep.
Not even including their wives?
Well, even with your wife, you don't want to be a simp. Obviously, you don't want to be a pushover. I'm saying treat her well, obviously, but you don't want to be a simp either. Because remember, let me define simp for you. Being a simp is basically showing an unreciprocated amount of attention and validation to a female that's not doing the same.
So what if she is doing the same?
So we have a few more minutes. Let's go to the next person.
You know what? Sure. Of course. It's been a pleasure talking
Sure.
with you, Kenny.
No problem.
He, she, they pronouns.
Sure.
How you doing?
Hey.
My name's JJ. What you said your name was Myron?
Yeah.
All right. Nice to meet you. So, what's it called? I just wanted to know. I got here a little bit late. What you think? Like women deserve less. What's your Give me a rundown of what it means. You're talking about pay. Or you talking about how they work. I heard you say a couple things.
Well, I mean, it's simple. You got to find a woman that's reciprocating with you. The problem is that a lot of guys put an enormous amount of skin in the game with women, and what ends up happening is the woman doesn't respect them, and she doesn't value that relationship. So what I tell guys is they need to be in a position first where they're attractive in the prize, and then from there, obviously make women work for the validation versus just simping on her.
All right, and then most of the time, you've answered these questions. You've said men like this, men do this, but what men are with you? What other men have you met that want the same things as you? You're saying men think that women's careers don't matter. What men are you talking to that think like this?
Well, what I've realized is typically the more money and status a man has, the less he cares about these things. Now, are there some guys out there that want an egalitarian relationship? Sure. But I would argue that it just simply doesn't work, and we have the data to show that divorce rates are high. We have the lowest marriage rates ever, and it's come because of this whole equality thing. Because on paper, women say they want equality, but it doesn't really work in practice. So, but yeah, I mean, a lot of the guys that I know in my network, they want a woman that's gonna do what she's supposed to do, which is be a homemaker, take care of their children, be submissive and follow their lead.
So when you get a wife, like whenever that is, like what would you want her to do, like as like a career or whatever? You just want her to stay at home while you go and talk to people?
Well, like, being an aide, she can assist me with certain things, make things happen. So like for me, for example, my girl runs my real estate for me. So I don't have to worry about that. She runs my real estate portfolio. So, that's something I don't have to worry about so much.
So her doing all that for you, you're saying she deserves less than you?
No. That's after a woman has earned that changes things. I'm saying up front when you're going through the courting/vetting process.
All right, so what does she have to do to like earn that for you?
Again, every guy's gonna have different things, but if you're asking me in particular, be submissive, be pleasant, good cook, not a pain in the ass, assist me with things I got going on day to day. Just be helpful, really. Men don't ask for much, man. I think guys are very simple, and that's really it.
All right, so whenever you were talking to one of these other girls, you said like you still have a mom, right?
Yeah.
What, did you grow up with both parents?
Yes.
And they brought you into this, you said? Like they made you think like this?
My mom was the one that instilled in me from an early age, because I used to have a liberal mindset too when I was in college, thinking like, oh yeah, this equal partnership is gonna work. And when my mom told me this when I was younger, I thought she was just crazy, but the reality is she was right about a lot of this stuff. Finding a woman that's gonna follow your lead and be productive.
I gotcha. So
she trying to rush you?
Yeah, I guess like my conclusion is like, I feel like with a mother and like a girlfriend, like, I feel like you can't really say they deserve less or have to earn it. I don't think women have to earn anything. I feel like
okay, so just be given to them, huh?
Yeah, like we don't really have to we don't owe them anything. Like they're brought into this world for a reason. Like our job is to protect them. Like we don't really have to
Okay, so you think just simping on them up front is fine?
No, simping is not like that's not a thing you have to do to like get a woman's attention. Like okay, put it in this perspective. Like the last girl you talked to.
Because you said they don't have to earn anything, right?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. So what is that? That doesn't equate to simping.
All right, so if they don't have to earn anything, like they just get your validation, attention, and time and resources.
It depends.
Just off
okay,
that?
but hear me out.
Oh, now it depends.
So no, it doesn't depend on that. It depends on like they don't owe you anything to like okay, put it in perspective. Let's say you were a girl, you were a guy, whatever. Do you think like I'm attractive like right now? Like looking at me. What do you think?
I mean, you can ask the ladies here. I don't know what they.
No, I'm asking
wanna
you.
vote.
I'm asking you because you put yourself in a predicament where you were dating the last girl. So do you think I'm attractive?
Well, that's kind of. I don't like men, man. So
All
I'm
right.
the wrong
So
person to ask.
a couple of the things you said like men have to be. You said men have to be strong. You said men have to have a bunch of money before they get married or before they do all that stuff.
Well, they have to have things in place to be attractive to the majority of
all
women.
right. So, I can say like I can do a little bit better. Like I can become a more attractive. But I have a beautiful girlfriend who like loves me a lot.
Good.
She's right over there. But like she doesn't like what
How long
does
you guys
she
been
have to
together?
earn from me?
How long you guys been together?
What since 20? Yeah. Why does that matter?
Well, I think that's. Oh wow! Look at this.
Okay.
Yeah.
but,
I mean, I think it's important to see proof of concept. Like, how long you guys been together?
2023.
Okay, so for like 2 years, you guys met here in college.
Yeah. Well, we're freshmen. We've been since high school.
Okay, great.
So like, what did she have to really earn from me? Because I'm like in my book, I'm not a whole lot of attractive. I don't got 100K in the bank, but like I still hold the beautiful woman, and she's holding me down. She does she does a lot for me. So like, what did she really have to earn?
She's the breadwinner in your situation.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that she doesn't owe me anything.
Okay, so here's the thing, man. You guys are young, but as you age, right? And I'm giving you like some real life like stuff here. As you age, what's going to happen is she's going to put a greater necessity on security, and if you don't rise up to that occasion, become the protector, the provider, and everything else like that, there's going to be a high likelihood that the relationship will end. So
that's my job as much as
it's
hers.
great that you guys met and are like high school sweethearts and stuff, but there definitely is a burden of performance, and as you guys age, her standards are going to lean more towards security.
And I'm going to step up for that.
Perfect. Then you're good. So
Yeah,
there's
you're
no
right.
real. That's
All
fine.
right.
As long as you adhere to your duties, then you're good. So.
All right. Have a good day.
All right, man. Okay. Who's up next? What happened? Oh, we got to wrap up?